In this video, there are Nazi insignias. I just want to be clear, in no way, shape, or form do I support any form of Nazism, fascism, anti-Semitism, or racism in any form or fashion. This is purely historical knowledge. Thank you. Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to Chris Creates the World. Recently, I graduated from university, stopped working, and booked a one-way ticket to Europe. This summer, I'm going to bring you along as we discover new people, places, and food. And hopefully, by living my dream, I can inspire you to create the world you want to live in. On this channel, we do everything from paddleboarding to eating Parisian pastries, and might even go to a music festival or two. Some of the places we are going include Normandy, France, Luxembourg, Belgium, Bavaria, and beyond. Come and see the world we're creating today. Hello, welcome to this week's video. We are here in Caen, France. This video is going to be a lot about history. I'm going to try not to museum you guys to death like I have in some of the previous ones. Instead, I'll just kind of tell you about the museums and show you a bit of the footage, because I mean, you can't really experience a museum through a vlog, right? Anyways, we're here at the Memorial De Caen, and it's basically a memorial to World War II. I thought it was just like a D-Day kind of thing, but it is a lot more. So it's this whole museum and memorial. Up front, they have flags to all the countries that were involved, and then they have a little area with stone inscriptions with things that every country basically wanted to say afterwards. All the things like, you know, the fallen and stuff. Fascinating. Each country that was involved had one. There's one from Greece, Russia, all the countries involved in the European side, I should say, have one over there. But then inside, you pay, it's like 18 euros, I believe, but it is incredibly worth it. I only had like an hour or two there, and it wasn't enough time for me. I am a World War II nut, so this was insanely cool. It starts with showing kind of the Treaty of Versailles and how the German people felt, and then showing some of the propaganda, which I had never seen before. I mean, I know propaganda existed, right, but I'd never seen actual propaganda from the rise of Hitler, and so I thought that was fascinating to see. And then it goes into Germany in the 30s, it goes into the start of the war, the invasions, continues to go and talk about all the racial fanaticism that went on with, obviously, the Holocaust and everything like that. The Jews living inside of Europe at that time and all that they were going through. And it's the slow kind of lead up into a war, and it explains a little bit kind of what was going on, where and when. It talked a lot about France and the people that were in France and the conditions there, French La Resistance, and it was really cool to see. And then, of course, a huge section is dedicated to Project Overlord, which I learned from this is not the invasion of Normandy. Project Overlord means like the liberation of Normandy in France. Operation Neptune is specifically D-Day and the invasion force. They do have a film with it as well. It's only about 20 minutes long. It is in French, but it has English subtitles. And what I found really fascinating about the film was that it talked about how everyone kind of assumes it's just June 6th, right? But it was like 100 days until the last city in Normandy was liberated, and it was in like September. So all this fighting kept going on. Germans offered heavy resistance in Normandy. Really good though, really powerful. They have little sub videos in there throughout as well. They have French, English, and German titles and script for everything in the museum. Fascinating. I learned a lot about it. I really enjoyed this museum. Highly recommend if you come. And that is the perfect way to introduce this whole video and the next video, because this is really why I came to France. I've been fascinated with World War II, learning about the history, and it's so crazy to me. I can't fathom it, all that happened. This is really why I came to France. I had to see all this, so I hope you guys enjoyed these next couple of videos. So we are going to focus mostly on World War II in these, but also show you guys a little bit of Caen itself and a little bit of travel, you know, kind of gonna mix it in there. So hope you enjoyed that. Make this a stop on your list, and we'll catch you at the next stop. Real quick, I forgot to include, getting there is a bit difficult. I had to walk a little bit because I didn't do research correctly. So you get on the metro, you take the red line. You take the red line to University, Université stop, and then from there there's a bus stop across the street. It's blue. It's the number 2, so it's the blue bus. Get on that, that'll take you all the way. End of the line is the Memorial De Caen. Just, yeah, quick fact there. welcome to June 3rd. It's the next day, guys. We are driving around Normandy, visiting a bunch of different historical sites today. And with that being said, we're driving around. Everything is very separated, so you're going to need a car. For the day, I rented a scooter. There's a place in town that you can get one for like 35 euros a day. I'll link to it in the description below. But it was kind of fun and terrifying driving that around this morning. We are here at Pegasus Bridge, an objective by the British on D-Day. It was one of the first objectives actually taken in the invasion. British gliders were sent in, landed like 50 yards away from the bridge. They had 3 gliders that came and landed. So gliders were these super light wooden aircraft that were being pulled by bombers basically, and then they would just detach it and they would glide in and then make a crash landing, and the troops would get out and start fighting. So their objective was to take this bridge. It was a key objective for moving inland. I remember from watching the History Channel like years and years ago that there was like 2 British guys that got there first, and they had like one little bazooka with like a few shots in it. A German tank came close to kind of like suss out the situation, and they fired at it with 1 shot and took it out in like a weak spot, which was like kind of rare, I guess. And so I remember the British guy on the TV was like, those Germans probably went back and reported that we had the bridge super defended with all kinds of anti-tank weapons, and they only had like a few shots, and it was just like a few guys there. But yeah, no, they held the bridge. Pretty incredible. And that's something that I'm really excited to learn about, the other Allied forces. We're gonna go check out some of the Canadian beaches as well. It was like 8 euros to enter. They have a little museum here as well. They have different things all about a lot of the British parachute regiments and the glider troops, and pretty detailed stuff. A lot of mannequins, a lot of guns here, historical guns and glass cases and stuff. So it's pretty cool. Come check this spot out. It was a fun little quick stop. Made it out to Juno beach here. This is where Canadian forces landed about 7:10. Stuff happened where they ended up coming in at high tide and run into a bunch of problems that the Germans had set up. But this is a beach dedicated to the Canadian forces that came in between the British forces, the British beaches. Wore the Unleash the Archers hat today because they're Canadian. Thought that was kind of a funny nod. Anyways, we're gonna go explore a little bit more of the memorial here. All right, so you keep walking in, there's this Charles de Gaulle cross-looking memorial, commemorate kind of the La Resistance. A little bit eastern on that beach, keep going a little bit east, you get to this Cozy's Pillbox. It was named that after a Canadian commander who took it with a single platoon on D-Day. Said that they took it on the first attempt, they took 26 casualties. 26 guys died just to get control of this little pillbox here. It was blown up, so it's kind of sunken in, but it's still left here, so there's some remnants. You can go inside. There's not much down there though. It's just some sand and stuff. That's another thing I realized is this war was almost 80 years ago. Well, part of it was 80 years ago, but the invasion was like 78 years ago. It's amazing that some of the stuff's even still around. Yeah, this is some of the last remaining bits of Hitler's Atlantic Wall. Yeah, the beaches are, you know, everyone tells me how you go and it's just beaches, and it is, but it's just, you know, it's kind of harrowing to see and think about. What's interesting is that actually the Canadians did some really good work. They took heavy casualties, kind of like the US soldiers did, but they, by the end of D-Day, they were like 12 kilometers inland or something. In comparison, on Omaha, they were like maybe 2 kilometers in. I mean, to be honest, it's amazing they even got on the beach, in my opinion. So yeah, the Canadians actually did quite a bit of work from what I have gathered. There was like 15 countries that said they were involved in this invasion, which was a lot more than I thought, right? You kind of only hear about the big ones. There was like, Greece was there and they provided some sea stuff. A lot of the Commonwealth countries provided air support. Australia and New Zealand were in with those. So kind of fascinating to see all that went into it and all that it took to fight tyranny. Really cool. Good little stop. Oh, good day there, Dan. Welcome to the British Normandy Memorial. That was probably offensive, I'm sorry. But yeah, we're at the British Normandy Memorial here. It's actually really cool. I'd never seen videos or pictures of this place before. They've got a big British and French flag here in the middle. They've got just these long open hallways of columns that have names inscribed over all of them with the fallen soldiers. It was really, really cool, really fascinating. There's just these long hallways, got some sculptures, a really clean memorial. They have a beautiful viewpoint. There's sweet vista really of the beaches in the British Channel. It was very well thought out and put together. One of the coolest parts is on the way up, there's this little path that takes you up here, and along it are these big stone stopping points with point-by-point story that slowly builds up until the liberation of Caen and Paris. So it's really cool storytelling aspect that it kind of takes you through the journey of the British troop and the Allies in general. So it talks about all the heavy casualties that it cost, and again highlighting the fact that the campaign for Normandy was much more than just June 6th. It was a whole summer, really. But it's really cool to see what it means to the people that it's still remembered, because there's all kinds of old classic vehicles. There's a ton of Willys Jeep you see driving around, and then when I actually pulled up to here, there was a bunch of remade British Army motorcycles. They were all done. They were so cool looking. They were all piled up there. It must have been like a big biker gang that's making a tour. Super authentic looking World War II motorcycles. So this is a pretty pristine location. I think it's super pretty. Definitely worth checking out if you're, making your way here. This is a cool stop. Learn a bit about the British side as well. But we're gonna keep moving along, see some more sights along the coast. Alright, made it to Arromanches, which is where the British Mulberry was placed. So part of the strategy for Normandy was it was left somewhat unprotected. Hitler thought they were going to come in at a port city, especially the really close one in the Strait of Dover. So there was no ports here. After they invaded and secured the landing zones, they constructed their own ports. One at Omaha and one here at Gold. They're called Mulberries for I don't know what reason. I knew that they built these, but after being here, I didn't realize how huge it was, how big these ports were. These concrete sets that they built for support, they go way out there, and they stretch for it's like 2 miles, dude. That is a huge stretch of ocean. It's really impressive. It would have been really cool to see it in its day, The one at Omaha Beach got destroyed due to a giant storm, but this one is still here. Crazy to think when you look out and see it. Driving around though, there's again just tons of Willys Jeeps, and there's a cool little shop that has all kinds of a little tent set up with all kinds of old trinkets and whatnot, all war memorabilia, whatnot. Speaking of supplies though, and bringing in supplies, we got a sandwich, so we're gonna stop and have some lunch. Maybe Mr. Sherman here will let us have some lunch. For lunch, we just got a ham and cheese sandwich, jambon fromage baguette. It's really that simple. And a couple of the little bread things that I love so much for treats. When I told people I was coming to France, they said, live off the bakeries. And that's exactly what I'm doing. They're all super good, and honestly, they're super cheap. Can't say that now. Super cheap bakeries. Quality food, packed around with you. Get some baguettes, get some croissants. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this quick lunch break. Back to the sights. Well, hello there. Ran into a bit of a rainstorm. Scooter still works though. Just getting a little wet. It's not too bad though. It's not raining too hard. We're here at Longue-Sur-Mer, where the German guns are. There's about 4 installations. 3 of them still have big rusted out guns here. It's free to come to, show up. It's big. They're like 120 something millimeter cannons that they use to fire out at the ships out in sea, the British Channel. They're huge installations, as you can see. And they were all taken out or captured pretty early in the day, from what I gathered. I was following a little guy giving a private tour. He was saying that there was a forward spotting base, and that the phone line from the forward base to the guns hadn't been installed yet. Interesting, fascinating facts, right? Just to think about the devastation that these huge guns could have and probably did cause for a bit. But you can see the beaches out there, just over this little field, cliffs, and it's right there. The invading forces would have been right there. And then you just turn around this way. There's another little field. You can see a little church just there, a little chapel, a little town. You can see the whole French countryside. These batteries are super well preserved. You can kind of see how it looks, and they're buried under, give them a little more protection. fascinating. All right, I was gonna try and make it to Bayeux today. You get to see the tapestry, learn about William the Conqueror, but with this rain, I don't really want to ride the scooter there and then ride it back to Caen. We're just gonna call it there for the day, you know? But if you wanna see tapestry Bayeux, then click that little subscribe button, come hang out with us next week. And also, we got more Normandy coming up. We're gonna do the American beaches up next. So I hope you enjoyed these allied posts and whatnot. It was fun to see a lot of different stuff. I enjoyed it. Hopefully that can kind of help inform your travels a little bit, kind of help you broaden your range of knowledge. Because a lot of the times when we learn about World War II, it's a lot of just American knowledge, but there's so much more that went into it. This has been a dream, you know, coming to see this stuff. I've always seen pictures of it watching the History Channel growing up. Yeah, it's been a lifelong pursuit and interest of mine. So in that spirit, this video goes out to some people that have known me my entire life. Doug and Jerry Bruner. This one's for you guys. Thank you so much for all your support over the years and for supporting my channel and your kind donation. Anyways, got Amazon links in the description below with all my travel gear. If you want to see the cameras I'm using, the sleeping bags I got, paddle boards, anything really that I use is down in those descriptions, so check that out. Well, Normandy wasn't conquered in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. Great things take time, but they also take a step. Sometimes a step that's hard to do might take you a few years of planning to get there, like D-Day did. But you know, great things can happen when you make a decision and you move on it. Whatever your dream is, whatever your vision is, whatever you're seeing in your head, you can do it. Get out there and go create the world.